So last week I did a video where I read hot takes that people had from college football Reddit, and that was a pretty fun video to make. But in that video, I asked you guys to leave comments down below with your hot takes, and I would make a video of me reading them. I think as of right now, there's like 300 plus comments on that video, so unfortunately, I can't read all 300. But I did select a good chunk that I'm gonna break down into a couple videos, that way I can read as many hot takes as I possibly can. So if you had a college football hot take that you commented, but I don't read it, I'm sorry. I wish I, again, could read all of them, but when you have 300, you don't really have enough time to do all that unless I make like, I don't know, what, 5-hour video just reading them all. So to everyone that commented, I really appreciate it, but again, I have about 60 or 70 that I screenshotted that I'm going to be sharing with you guys. So let's get this underway. Hot take: Michigan keeps the game within 10 points. And yeah, I think that's safe to say that's a hot take. Chattanooga defeats the Citadel in an overtime thriller to win the national championship. Well, the only thing I have to say to that is, don't sleep on Chattanooga. If you know, you know. In the next 10 years, more conferences will adopt the Big 12 model of getting rid of divisions and having the conference championship games be between the two best teams by a record. I actually like that one. I'm not a huge fan of divisions in college football. I get having, divisions to separate all the teams, but I do like having it where it's the two best teams meet up because, a lot of the times there might be a team that's better than a division winner and they should be in the conference title game. And also, we don't really have it now, I guess maybe in the SEC. For the most part, there's not a lot of disparity when it comes to divisions. There's not a lot of divisions where one is just significantly better than the other, unless it's the ACC and you're in Clemson's division. But I like the idea of just everyone plays everyone every year. It's different teams you're playing on your schedule, so I actually really like that one. So that's a good hot take because I would like to see that actually happen. The Pac-12 won't have a national title winner for 15 years. I want to disagree with you on that, but the Pac-12, man, we're struggling. Georgia will never win a national title with Kirby Smart. Georgia fans, if you're watching this, have at it in the comments. Nick Saban retires this decade with a national title in his final season. Well, I would assume that Nick Saban's going to retire in the 2020s. If he goes into the 2030s, this guy's just on another level. Dabo and O'Reilly will take a shot in the NFL and will fail miserably. I'm not sure if Dabo is necessarily going to go to the NFL anytime soon. Lincoln Riley, I think he's definitely going to make the jump to the NFL. One of my buddies, he's a Seattle Seahawks fan. He has this whole plan that this is going to be the final year with Pete Carroll. Next year, Lincoln Riley's going to take over the Seattle Seahawks, which him with Russell Wilson would actually be kind of nice. But I think Lincoln Riley, whether he starts off as an offensive coordinator or gets the head coaching gig, Lincoln Riley is born for the NFL. I think he's going to thrive there. Dabo, I'm not exactly sure. Hot take: Wisconsin goes 11-1 and actually beats Ohio State in the Big Ten title game, securing a spot in the playoff. Alabama misses the playoff again. Minnesota wins the Big Ten. Minnesota goes to the college football playoff. Najee Harris will lead the nation in rushing yards. Najee Harris, this is a guy, I think he's the most slept on running back in the country. This guy can easily be the first running back off the board next year, and I think he can have a potentially breakout year, so I really like that one, Patty, man. My hot take is Arizona State wins the Pac-12 title and wins the Rose Bowl. If I can get an Arizona State Rose Bowl while I'm currently living 15 minutes away from Pasadena, that would be the absolute greatest thing ever. I need that to happen. I need my Sun Devils to make it to a Rose Bowl game. I think I've been to 3 or 4 different Rose Bowl games in my life, but if I can see one with Arizona State in it, yeah, that's going to be a good one. The Miami Hurricanes will be in the Orange Bowl with Heisman Trophy winner De'Ara King leading the charge. I actually just made a video the other day about De'Ara King, so if you haven't already, check that out. This is a perfect plug to go do so. 2 bowl-eligible teams will outdo the Cheez-It Bowl. I don't think that the Cheez-It Bowl, also known as the greatest bowl game in the history of college football, I don't think that'll ever be topped. That thing was just perfection. Texas A&M goes undefeated. Kellen Mond wins the Heisman and goes #1 overall in the NFL draft after winning the SEC and the Natty. I'll say this: if Joe Burrow can do what he did at LSU and go #1 and win the Heisman, Kellen Mond, anything's possible at Texas A&M. He said something along the lines of like a month or two ago that they have the chance to do what LSU did last year and just shock the world. So if that happens, I'm not going to be totally surprised, but yeah, I'm going to give that a 0.83% chance of happening. All those things happening. One of those could happen. One of those very well could happen, but all 3 of those, yeah, that's not happening. UTEP wins 2 games this season, winning 1 out-of-conference game and 1 in-conference game. The Miners, I think they can shock the world and win 2 games this year. 6 FBS teams will lose to an FCS team. No idea which specific team will lose. Kansas will go 6-6. Wow, Kansas being in a bowl game. Who would have imagined? There will be a last-minute decision in August to cancel the college football season, and chaos will erupt. If it magically does go ahead, Sam Ehlinger will be a Heisman finalist. The actual winner of the Heisman will not be Lawrence or Fields. Florida will win the Natty against Texas. Ole Miss will have an 8-win season. Emory Jones replaces Kyle Trask some point this year at Florida for the quarterback 1 spot. That's interesting. I mean, that's a unique hot take. Skylar Thompson leads Kansas State to the Big 12 championship, beating Oklahoma. Skylar Thompson, he's a very slept-on quarterback in the Big 12. Very, very underrated. I really like what he did with them last year. Hey, if Kansas State can shock the world and go to the Big 12 title game, Tim, we're going to come back to you and be like, wow, Tim called it. Louisville upsets Clemson and goes to a New Year's 6 game. Oklahoma State wins the Big 12. Louisville, that's another team very slept on this year. I think they can do damage. Going to a New Year's 6 bowl, upsetting Clemson. I mean, hence that's why that's called hot takes. This is why you have the hot takes. But again, I mean, I respect it. I respect it if that happens. Jeremy, again, we're going to come back to you and say, wow, Jeremy called this one. Florida finally beats Georgia and takes down Oklahoma in the Sugar Bowl. Arkansas wins 3 conference games and makes the bowl game. Hey, if Arkansas wants to come back and be good again, I'm down. Hey, we got one from Chuck Norris. Hot take, Illinois ends up in the top 25. Well, if Chuck Norris speaks that into existence, everyone place your bets on Illinois being a good team this year. Kyle Trask takes the same leap Joe Burrow did in his 2nd year, leading Florida to an undefeated season, though a loss in the college football playoff. I'm very high on Florida. I'm very high on Kyle Trask. I don't know if he'll take the same leap Joe Burrow did. I mean, I don't think any quarterback ever again is going to take the kind of leap that Joe Burrow did, but I definitely think Kyle Trask can have a Heisman-type season. I definitely think that the Gators can make it to the playoff. This is actually going to be Tennessee's year. I actually agree. I think Tennessee has the chance to be a surprise team in the SEC this year. Now, what exactly it means by being their year, that can mean a bunch of different things, but if by being the year means they go 8-4, 9-3 with a bowl game win, I definitely think this could be Tennessee's year. Pittsburgh wins the Coastal and loses by 1 touchdown in the ACC championship. So Pitt's going to be contending in the ACC. That's one I haven't heard yet. Hot take, and as hot as it can get. Akron wins the Natty and LSU goes 0-12. I've said this before in the past, but I just really wish we could have seen this. I wanted to get a game last year featuring Akron and UMass playing each other because those are 2 of the worst college football teams I think I've ever seen in my life. And I think watching those 2 teams play each other would have been an absolute treat for us college football fans. After COVID, the regular season is cut to 11 games plus a conference championship permanently, and the college football playoff is expanded to 16. Because of this, conference winners are automatic bids to the playoffs. Again, I've said this on previous podcasts that I've done. I really want to see the playoff expand to 8, where you have your 5 conference champions, they get automatic bids, and then you choose the next 3 best teams. That's how I wish it could be. I personally don't like 4. I understand by pushing it to 8, they're still kind of hesitant on it. So hopefully within the next few years, we can see it get to 8. Ideally, if it was up to me, I'd like to see some sort of March Madness style thing with like a 64 team bracket, but I know we'll never get that. 16, I'm kind of hesitant on because I don't think teams that are ranked 10 through 16 or so can make much of a push. Maybe they can win a game and advance to the next round, but I think for the most part, if you're like in that 1 through 10 range, those are the teams that have the best chance. But I think 8, I think that's perfect. I think having the automatic bid by winning your conference, that puts more emphasis on conference games going to your conference title game. Maybe that's also because as an Arizona State fan, I know that's the only chance we have to potentially make the playoff, but overall, I think the 8-team playoff needs to happen. 5 automatic bids and then the next 3 best teams. This isn't just a hot take, this is straight gas. Rutgers, Kansas, Vanderbilt, and Oregon State will make the playoff. I think out of these 4 teams, the team that has the best chance to make the playoff is Oregon State, because I think they're, well, out of these 4 teams, they're the best team, and anything can happen in the Pac-12 after dark. So Oregon State Beavers, you're my random selection to make the college football playoff this year, but my goodness. Rutgers, Kansas, Vanderbilt, Oregon State. If we had a playoff of those 4 teams, who do you guys think would come out on top? My guess is going to be the Beavers. We have more Akron stuff. Hot take, Akron wins a game this year. Considering they won 0 games last year, I would think the odds have to be highly in their favor to win at least 1 this year. But those are all the hot takes that I'm going to read for this video. As I mentioned, there's a ton that I still need to get to, so there's going to be a part 2 of this video that I'm going to release in the next few days. Again, thank you to everyone that left comments. There were some really good hot takes, and there's some really good hot takes that are going to be coming in the next video. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up. It really helps the video out, and it really helps the channel grow as well. Again, thank you guys so much for watching, and thank you guys for commenting, and I'll see you all in my next video.